Autism spectrum disorder is often misunderstood. Autistic children may struggle with social interaction, avoiding conversation, turning away when spoken to, and preferring to play alone. Communication challenges range from not speaking at all to giving brief responses like yes or no when a longer response would be expected. Some repeat words immediately or much later, and others find it hard to maintain conversations or interpret nonverbal cues like facial expressions and gestures. Repetitive behaviors and restricted interests vary. Some children engage in repetitive movements like rocking or headbanging, while others become distressed by small routine changes. Many develop intense, narrow interests in specific topics, even if they have no practical use. While autism spectrum disorder often coexists with intellectual disability, it's important to remember that they are two distinct conditions. According to the most recent figures provided by CDC's Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network, about 1 in 59 children in the United States has autism. The disorder is 4 times as likely to be seen in boys, 1 in 38, as it is in girls, 1 in 152. Rates of ASD have grown rapidly since the 1980s. In California, for instance, reported cases grew 273% between 1987 and 1998. The actual reason behind the increase is unclear, but it might be due to expanded diagnostic criteria, improved identification, increased awareness, and increased willingness to accept the diagnosis. Mental health professionals also know much more about ASD now and are better equipped to diagnose even mild instances. The exact cause of autism remains unknown, despite extensive research over the past few decades. However, strong evidence suggests that genetics play a major role in its development. Studies on twins have been particularly insightful in the understanding of this genetic influence. Research has shown if one identical twin has autism, the likelihood that the other twin also has the condition is between 60 and 90%. This suggests that inherited genetic factors have a significant contribution. In contrast, fraternal twins and non-twin siblings, who share only about 50% of their genetic material, have a much lower concordance rate of only 5 to 10%, which further reinforces the idea that genetic predisposition is a key factor in autism. Many different genes and mutations have been linked to autism, particularly those involved in forming synaptic circuits that enable communication between different brain regions. Environmental factors may also contribute to an increased risk of autism spectrum disorder, particularly because they can lead to new mutations. These factors include exposure to pollutants like industrial emissions and mercury, living in urban versus rural areas, and a vitamin D deficiency. In the late 1990s, a prestigious medical journal published an article showing that autism is triggered by the MMR, or measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. These findings drew a great deal of attention, sparking an international forum on whether children should be vaccinated. In a shocking turn of events, some years later, the article was retracted by the journal that published it, after evidence surfaced alleging fraud and unethical practices on the part of the lead researcher. This was due to a significant conflict of interest in which the lead researcher had a financial interest in establishing a link between childhood vaccines and autism. Some parents of children with autism mounted a campaign against the scientists who refuted the link between autism and vaccines. Even politicians and several well-known celebrities weighed in, for example, actress Jenny McCarthy, who believes that a vaccination caused her son's autism. The actress even co-authored a book on the subject. However, it is important to note that to date, there is no scientific evidence that suggests a link between autism and childhood vaccines. Many talents in autism come from 2 key traits: sensory hypersensitivity and hypersystemizing, which is a strong drive to recognize patterns, rules, and systems. Heightened sensory perception can sometimes be overwhelming, but it also enhances abilities in incredible ways. For example, someone with increased sensitivity to sound might have an extraordinary ear for music. Just like enhanced visual processing can help with pattern recognition and design. Think of artists, architects, or even data analysis. Then there's hypersystemizing. This is the ability to deeply understand and organize information into systems. It's why many autistic individuals thrive in fields like math, engineering, and music, where logic, detail, and precision are key. Their ability to focus intensely, notice details that others might miss, and solve complex problems can lead to remarkable achievements. Of course, these strengths can also come with challenges, like sensory overload or difficulty navigating social interactions. But with the right support and understanding, autistic individuals can harness these unique abilities and excel in academics, careers, and beyond. Noticing every little detail can be a superpower, especially in fields like art, science, or problem solving, where precision matters. It allows people to catch mistakes, spot patterns, and create with incredible accuracy. But sometimes the sharp focus comes at a cost. When everything feels equally important, it can be overwhelming. Too much information at once can lead to stress, fatigue, or even difficulty tuning out distractions. For someone with autism, the world can feel overwhelming. Lights too bright, sounds too loud, or textures too uncomfortable. These sensitivities can make social settings and daily life more challenging. But autism isn't just about struggles. It also comes with unique strengths. Many autistic individuals have an amazing eye for patterns, deep focus, and a fresh way of thinking that leads to innovation. When we shift from seeing autism as just a challenge to recognizing its strengths, we take a step forward to a more inclusive and understanding world.